Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hollow Place podcast. I think this is episode 4. I'm here with SpaceMan Zack. And yeah, we're just going to talk about some stuff today. I think the theme of today is going to be like artist advice. We ask people for topics that they might want advice about in relation to like being an artist. I think a lot of people who watch this are also artists.
Yes.
Someone asked about promotion and what they could do kind of cheap to promote themselves or even free to promote themselves. Right off the bat, I mean, I think that a big thing you can do is just like if you're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, is just interact with um other people who also make music.
Mhm,
Just like comment on stuff,
mhm.
um, share other people's stuff. That's kind of like a networking thing, but I think just putting yourself out there and, like, putting yourself in conversations.
Yeah. I mean, because it is a networking thing, but I also think that it does go as, like, a promotion because I'm still getting better at, like, TikTok and the landscape and stuff, but I know that, like, the algorithm favors you if you interact with other people 'cause it, like, wants you to engage like a human. Like, it wants to see you be like a person,
Yeah.
and also I was reading a thing the other day. It pushes you, especially TikTok, I don't know about, like, Instagram, but it categorizes your page as a certain type of page based on what you interact with. So, if you go and you like and comment on a bunch of, like, underground artists' posts, it now is like, "Oh, this person must be an underground artist or an
Right.
underground artist listener." So when you post, it automatically wants to push you that way
Yeah.
unless you, like, hashtag the fuck up this way. But so if you're an underground artist and you're commenting on a bunch of people's posts and reposting and getting into their circles, TikTok's algorithm will actually push you that way
Yeah.
anyway. So it helps. And I've started doing it more and it has helped.
Yeah.
So also one thing I found out that if you right before you post, go comment and like on a bunch of people. Like, so what I did is I followed a bunch of people that I like anyways, their underground music, and I'll go through my following list and I'll just go to like all their most recent videos and like comment, like comment, like comment, like comment, then post, then close out the app, and it pushes you to them because it's like,
Okay.
oh, you showed them some love, so we're gonna push you to them so that they show you love back. Right?
Yeah.
So I found that out and I've been doing it and tremendously has changed my views.
That's interesting. That makes sense, though, because I know whenever I interact with or I feel like when people interact with something that I post,
Yeah.
I feel like the next time I post Instagram, I'm, like, seeing
Yeah. You
something they
see
post.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then also another thing I learned that I tried actually yesterday because I haven't gone live on TikTok consumes my brain. So that's like
Yeah.
my main thing right now. But if you post, so you're supposed to post, close out the app because it wants to send you notifications. So it pushes you to more people so you have more notifications. But if you post and then immediately go live,
Mhm.
it shoots up your algorithm of the post that you made.
Okay.
So like usually my TikTok is kind of crappy and I'll get like 1,000 views in so many hours, right?
Right.
But I went live after I posted yesterday and I had like 1,000 views in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So like that is way better, and I think it's because I went live.
Yeah. If I ever click on someone's live,
Mhm.
like, and then click out of it, I'll get a bunch of their
Yeah,
content.
or even I'll click out of their live and like scroll through their page because I'm just trying to see what they're about.
Right.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
No, that's good advice. I didn't know some of that stuff. And I think um more to what I can speak to is just like just putting yourself out there or putting yourself in conversations or like showing love
Mhm.
can promote you in a way that's not so direct, which is like if maybe you're a fan of someone who's like a little bit bigger than you,
Mhm.
if you're like constantly showing love, I think it should be genuine.
Yeah.
But if you're like constantly showing love,
Yeah.
you know, you never know what that might lead to. Like that person might end up checking you out just because they're like, "Oh, I recognize this name.
Mhm.
Like, I wonder who this is." They might click on your page or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I want to work with this person," or like, "Oh, I'm just gonna like share this song they made that sounds cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean that, and also it just I feel like people don't want to be marketed to. So
right.
you interacting with people as much as you can builds more of a, I think that the unless you're like really famous, I think that the artist fan relationship is dead at this point because of social media.
Yeah.
So like people's favorite artists interact with them now like directly through social
Right.
media. And so why would they go listen to you if you're on some high horse where you won't respond to their comments or whatever, unless you're like Uzi and you're like famous and you have a million comments or whatever. But if you are only getting 50 comments, go reply
Yeah.
because it'll break down the barrier of artist fan. They don't want to be a fan of you. They want to feel like they're part of your journey.
Yeah.
And so
And they are.
and they are. Like that's not even like on some just business shit. Like that is true. I respond to people not because of I'm like, oh, it'll get my numbers up, but like because I'm genuinely interested because you're taking time out of your day to make my dreams come true.
Right.
Thank you, first of all. You know what I'm saying? Like I have nothing without
Yeah.
people commenting. So there's like that. I think that if you break down the artist fan relationship into more of a, I don't want to say friends because yes, friends, but like also some people take that too far and then they think that they can demand things out of the artist. Um, but like just people that follow each other and
Yeah.
like and are acquaintances and you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, I'm not gonna market to you anymore. I'm
Right.
going to share with you.
Yeah.
Right? You know.
No, for sure. And just to clarify kind of what I was talking about too is you shouldn't show love so that you can promote yourself. You should be genuine and show love just so much like if you're because I get caught up in like social media stuff where it's like I'm too cool to comment on something sometimes or something. But like just show love and you never know where that can lead you.
Mm-hmm.
But do it for good reasons,
Yeah,
not just for promotion reasons. But
I agree.
I think it's a good thing that can promote you
I agree.
as well. Other than that, I mean, I think from like a cheap perspective, cheap is different for everyone, but I think just running like small like ad campaigns can be good.
Yeah.
There's platforms you can use to do that. Like we use something called Symphony sometimes.
Mhm.
But
Does
uh,
playlist push work still or is that kind of trash?
we haven't used Playlist Push in a while. We do use Submit Hub sometimes,
Okay.
which we don't really throw that much money at, but I think just from a perspective like algorithmically, it's good to like right out the gate get some playlist placements.
Mm-hmm.
And from all the research I've done and stuff like that, Submit Hub like vets their playlists, so they're
Yeah.
mostly real people. I mean, there's bots everywhere.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, that's important. If you're looking to buy playlisting, you have to vet it because too many people will just sell you a playlist post and then first of all, you don't want botted plays. Second of all, Spotify's smart now and if they realize that you're getting on a playlist with like a bunch of botted plays, they'll just take your song down.
Right.
So
So
like
yeah, and not to change the subject, but we can talk about playlisting a little bit. Playlisting, I think, at least from our perspective and all the time we've done it, we used to like when SoundCloud, I'm sorry, when Spotify first kind of became like a thing, and we were able to put your music on there. I think playlisting was, I don't know, there just wasn't so many bots. It was
yeah.
more of like a genuine uh process, and the people curating it, everything about it was a lot more genuine. I think once people realized like I can charge a ton of money for a placement,
Yeah.
then what happens is like they start placing everything they get paid $500 for,
Mhm.
and now the quality of the playlist goes down because
Mhm.
the person just wants $500, and they'll put anything on there
Yeah.
because they're making 20, like what's 20 times 500?
Isn't it like 50,000?
Probably.
Yeah. So
So I mean $50,000 just posting like 20 songs that they don't care about, but it's like, why would you turn down $50,000?
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
I want $50,000.
I would love $50,000. I don't want to go on a whole rant about that, but anyways, now it's not really like that anymore. So our approach to playlisting has been very supplemental, and like
Mhm.
we do not throw much money at it at all, like maybe $50 just to uh submit to places and get a couple of initial placements
Yeah.
right when the song comes out, I think is helpful.
I think overall though, word of mouth is even more important than playlisting ever was. So like
Yeah.
it is making those relationships and stuff like that because then people are more likely to share your stuff because I'm more likely to listen to a song that my friend showed me than the algorithm showed me.
Yeah,
Right?
and especially now, like what I was saying, I think that experience has even just become so much more cheapened because it's the same for like YouTube channels that host music.
Mhm.
I think that used to be a thing because a lot of these channels, it was more genuine
Mhm.
and it was more like a friend, even though you don't know them, is
Yeah.
that you can trust that what they're showing you, they have some sort of curation.
Yeah.
But once music became so accessible and everyone's making music and everyone's blah blah blah, and they're like, again, I already said this, but I can charge a bunch of money just for placement. It cheapens the whole experience because now these people that are like, I really love this YouTube channel. They post all the best like emo rap songs,
Yeah.
and then they post 15 in a row that you're like, this isn't good,
Good. Yeah.
and you know they just posted it because they wanted money. Then it's not like a friend anymore. It's like I'm not going to pay attention to this
Yeah,
anymore.
because it is obvious. I can tell when they start taking just the money instead of
Right.
caring about the music. Because we've been turned down from uh, YouTube channels before, and like I've understood and been like not mad
Yeah, you
about
have
it.
to respect
And
it.
I'm like, listen, if you don't like the song, then don't post it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But then I've also had people where I'm like, hey, I'm looking to get playlisted, and before they even hear the song, they're like, oh yeah, it's $500.
Yeah.
Send it through, and I'll post it tomorrow. And I'm like, well, do
Yeah,
you like it? Is it gonna work? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
exactly. But unfortunately, that's kind of the culture now. So
yeah,
we went off on a little tangent, but um, you can do stuff like that. You can throw a little bit of money at Submit Hub. You can do like, little Facebook ads and stuff like that for small amounts of money. None of this is going to blow you up. Um, Especially if you're an independent artist, there's just not, I mean, none of it would ever blow you up even like
mm,
you need an exorbitant amount of money to like blow up off of like ads and
yeah,
stuff. So, but if you have a little bit of money, I think it's fine to throw at it just as supplemental and get a couple more eyes on you.
yeah,
You just have to figure out how to target them and stuff. A lot of platforms like Symphony is a good one,
mm,
will help you do that. But that's really all I can think of in terms of promotion.
yeah. I also I want to say don't be afraid to run ads because I feel like there's like a this weird stigma around
Yeah.
running ads and shit like that. And I've gotten comments about it, and they're like, "Oh, you seem so fake now because you ran ads." And it's like, hey, listen, dude. Your favorite artist runs ads.
Yeah.
So like even like the big ones, bro. Like you think that fucking Future song that came out and you saw it on your page for some reason, that wasn't an ad targeted to you through the algorithm. No, his label paid for that. And that's fine. So just don't be afraid. Like I wouldn't only focus on that and like sink all your money into it. But for anyone who's small and they're like, "Ah, I won't do ads because it's so lame." No, it's not. Everyone does ads.
Yeah.
You just have to use it supplementally,
Yeah, it
right?
has to be supplemental, I think, and you just have to be smart about. Because here's the thing too, and I don't blame anyone for doing it on accident because it's like you have to learn these things or get someone else to do them for you who knows what they're talking about. But it's very easy to run ads and get like 100,000 views that are like from a country you've never heard of. That you're like your music's they're just seeing it and it's
Yeah.
counting as a view. You want to target people who actually engage with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole. That's why running ads can be so expensive, is
Yeah.
because it's a huge science.
Well, you have to look at running ads is not to gain views, but to gain fans.
Yeah,
So, like, you have to look at how many people stuck around after seeing the ad, not
yeah,
just, oh, I got a million views on this song that I ran ads for, but then my next song doesn't, it gets 10 views because those views were all ad, right?
yeah,
But if you have a influx of people like, oh, we're gonna follow you and we're interacting with you and we're real people, then the ad worked because you just all it did was find you some more eyes, but you still had to prove yourself with the music, right?
right.
So I think that's more valuable than just being like, oh, here's $300 for 500 plays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, before we ever ran ads on anything, I think we were very hesitant because it seems kind of like you're like being fake or something, or I get that feeling. That's how they
Yeah.
felt at the time. But it's just the nature of the game at
You
this
have to
point
play it
too,
a little bit.
because everyone who's able to do it is doing it,
Yeah.
and it's like not in a competition way, but like that is you're competing with people who are willing to do that.
Yeah.
So
And you're competing with people who have, for the most part, more money than you to do it too. So like you have to play the game a little bit.
yeah,
And like that's why I think stressed the fact it's supplemental. It's
yeah,
not your whole thing. It just gives you a little bit of a fairer chance in the game.
yeah. Last thing I'll say about that too, just to really drive the supplemental part home, is a lot of these platforms or even like places that you can submit stuff to for playlisting, they will present what they're doing,
Mhm.
even if they're doing a good job. Like I like Submit Hub, they vet their playlists, they, seem like a reputable company, whatever. But it's all presented to you as like it'll blow you up.
Yeah.
It's not true.
It's not gonna happen.
No, it's not gonna happen. But it's again, it's good supplemental. It can help like re-engage people who've checked you out before.
Mhm. But then you have to do the back end work of keeping them engaged. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, so just never fall for anyone being like, if you give us X amount of money, never expect to blow up or anything. Like again, it's just supplemental. But that's really all I got in terms of free or cheap, other than just, promote yourself, put your stuff. I mean, I feel I get it. It's a thing you kind of have to get over where it's like, I don't want to put my own work all over my Instagram every day, but there's no reason not to. There's a point where it's like you don't want to annoy people who are following you,
Yeah.
but like the gap between annoying people and not promoting yourself enough is, I think, pretty wide.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go too crazy, but don't be afraid to post your song every day for
Yeah.
like a month. Don't
And
be
also
afraid.
look at your own analytics because every social media now has where you can look at like what posts are doing the best and like what posts are doing what and what times of day and stuff like that. And that shit's so important because I'll post a video and it's like, hey, my new song drops at this time. Follow if you like it. And it'll do shit. And then I post one where it's like more relatable. Like, hey, I made the song. How do you guys feel about it? Right. And that'll do better. And like, your own analytics will show you that. So if you don't want to feel like you're annoying people, look at your analytics, see what they like,
Yeah.
and then follow that recipe, right?
Yeah.
Don't force something down their throats that they don't like.
Next up, we got a question about getting booked for shows, and kind of how that process works if you're not getting booked for shows. My initial advice about that would just be, if you're trying to get booked for shows, you just need to pay attention to what's going on around you locally with shows. And I mean, a lot of it's just outreach and like kind of asking for opportunities. So if you can get in touch with the promoter, if you get in touch with, I mean, the headliner or just other artists, and either ask them for a slot if they have any slots available, or who you can talk to about
Mhm,
getting a slot. It's just kind of outreach and hoping for the best.
mhm.
We talked about this a little in one episode, but I would kind of avoid paying for slots unless it's genuinely an insane opportunity. But most of the time, underground shows are not really an insane opportunity.
Mm-mm.
So I would avoid paying for anything, but just asking and trying to make relationships with people who, yeah, are putting the shows together, going to shows, even if they don't put you on the show, and just again, it's kind of like what I was saying about like promoting yourself on social media. Like, just show love to these people when you meet them. Not, and again, not so you can be on their next show or whatever, but
Mhm.
like just show love, just be there to support, introduce yourself, tell them who you are. You don't again have to be like, here's who I am, put me on your next show,
Yeah.
but just let them know, and just try to connect with people. Past that, um, you can just throw your own show, which is kind of a different process, but that's a pretty easy way to start doing shows is
Yeah. And it's not really that hard to throw your own, especially if you can find like a good venue that you like that's small, keep it cheap. We've done that and we locked in with a venue that we really, really, really like, and now we play it all the time here, and they really like us, so they like help us as much as they can, and they'll like, give us priority choices on
Yeah.
some days and stuff like that. Um but to piggyback off of what you said, I was gonna relate it back to what we were saying about like to show love. And we throw our own shows, or I'll get booked for shows and I'm promoting it, and people will hit me up and they're like, "H- let me on the show." And I'm like, oh, I can't on this one because the lineup's already booked. And then they like won't show up to the show because they're not on it. Well, I'm probably not gonna put you on the next one if you like are if it's all business,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like I've had a couple people where they've done that and I'm like, I can't this time, and then they'll come and show love at the show. I'm taking mental notes, bro. And
Right.
so like the next time I need an opener, you're probably gonna be the first person I'm looking for because I can see that you come, you show love to the underground, you show love to the culture, blah blah blah. So I don't really know a whole lot. Sounds bad. I don't really know a whole lot about booking shows because you've done majority of my
Yeah.
stuff for me. Um, but I think realistically, the best advice I could give is just be a part of the scene because there is a scene in every city,
Yeah.
and chances are it's small enough that after people see you one or two times, they're gonna recognize you, right?
Yeah.
And like not maybe not as like, oh, that's the guy who made that song, but that's the guy who shows up to all these shows. That's the guy who shows love and also makes music. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll throw him on maybe even like the very opener slot, like the door slot.
Yeah.
And then you come and you got the energy, you kill it, you bring a couple people. Okay, I'm gonna move him up to the 10:30 slot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we've done that, and like
Yeah.
that's helped me. Where I took when I was first starting out doing shows, I was taking the door slot. People were walking in the door buying tickets as I was performing. That's how we met,
Yeah.
first of all. And then like promoters would see that and then they'd be like, "Hey, you know what? You rocked out, bro. You had great energy. You want to play the later slot next time?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah." And then eventually you work your way up to like a co-headline, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So,
It's just a process, and like stuff like that I don't think happens overnight, in terms of like maybe getting booked or people reaching out. But yeah, like I said too, you can throw your own shows, and Zach mentioned it's really not that hard to do. It's honestly the worst part about it, or the hardest part about it, is like you have to pay for it.
yeah.
So you have to front the money for the show. But it's really just like doing research on venues,
Mhm.
sending them an email and asking if you can book out the venue for whatever day you want, and then coordinating with them. And I mean, a lot of times too, I think a big thing is like you can't be afraid to ask questions, whether that be to other people that are getting booked for shows or like the venue that you're trying to book. It's
Mhm.
just like, what do you need from me so we can put this show together?
Yeah.
I've never done this before.
And then also don't have expectations too. Like if you
Right.
ask someone, "Hey, I see you're playing the show. How can I go about getting something like that?" And if they can't get you on that show, you can't be mad at them for it. Like you can't have the
Mhm.
expectation that everyone needs to help you,
Yeah.
but there is nothing wrong and it is a good thing to ask for help.
Yeah. And asking for, if you like, people are going to be a dick to you probably sometimes if you ask them for stuff. That's just people. But you can't, yeah, just you can't let that stop you from continuing to ask. You just kind of gotta let it roll off. But yeah, anyways, booking your own show, find a venue, send them an email, see what they charge to book out the venue or whatever. There will be venues you can find that are not going to, if you're willing to pay them money, they're not going to be like, well, you have to have a track record of having fans come or whatever. They just, you're covering the cost up front.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and you just be willing to take a little bit of an L probably on making that money back, because your first show is probably not going to make money. It's great if it
Yeah.
does, and
Also, advice on if you're throwing your first show, do not try to go too big
yeah,
because like we started throwing shows at the venue that only had a 100 cap room, and they also have a 300 cap room and like an 1,000 cap room, and we went to throw our first show, and obviously my first thought is like, oh my god, we should get the 1,000. And bro, we were never gonna sell that shit. So we rocked the 100 and we sold it out a couple times, and then they were like, hey, do you want the bigger room? Because you obviously can do it.
Yeah.
So then we moved up. But like, just don't. There's nothing wrong with playing a show for 40 people.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
and there's nothing wrong with throwing your own show and
It's not a hit.
20 people
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Zach. Like, just maybe try not to bite off more than you can chew. But it really is a pretty easy process. It's just like booking anything else.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of things people book, but it's just like booking anything else. You just ask, and if you have the money, they'll let you do it.
Yeah.
And that's a good way too. Throwing your own show will teach you a lot about various other things about being an artist and like understanding how that stuff works, which is probably valuable as well. So
I agree.
I'm gonna throw this one kind of to you, but someone asked for advice on mixing. I don't know anything about that, to be honest.
No, Aubrey mixes all my music. Don't let him lie to you.
I do not.
So I don't know like a ton of technical stuff about mixing. I'm still learning. There's still a lot of stuff that I reach out and ask for help on certain things. But my main advice really would be don't overthink it, because even now I think that I'm pretty decent at mixing my own music. Everything I make now, I mix myself. Everything that comes out now, I mix myself, and I think it all sounds good. But I can sit on a song and remix it 3 different times because it just doesn't sound perfect, blah, blah, blah. I know everyone says this. The song is never going to be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect 100% done song. So just don't overthink it. Just, my process is what I do, and then other people may not do it the same way, but I'll make the song, I'll put it into like my little preset that I have, and then I'll keep it as a demo for about a week. I'll listen to it on like every speaker I can, headphones, different types of headphones, because different types of headphones have different levels of bass and whatever. Then I'll go back in, I'll tweak it, come back out, listen to it again, and I probably tweak it like twice. And then wherever it lands, it's gonna like it. That's what it is. And I don't think it has to be perfect, because I saw someone talking about it the other day. Like early X, Peep, those things, those songs, and I say this, don't eat my head off. Those songs were not mixed well.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of like, if you took that to Atlantic Records, they would be like, what the fuck is this? Right? But it was cool though, because it sounds cool, dude. It sounds cool. And I'm a firm believer that the emotion that is put into the music is more important than the mix ever will be. Because you could have a perfect sounding mix. If I made Coke in the bathroom, but I did it super boring vocally, I could mix that thing with Ariana Grande's producer, and it would not sound as good as it did.
It'd still be boring.
Yeah, like it would not sound as good as it did because of the emotion that was conveyed. But the main, simplest fact is turn knobs until your EQ sounds right. That's what I did. I don't know my EQ settings. I cannot tell you my EQ settings. The easiest way to get like a good starting point though, you go one vocal directly center, one vocal turn down 70% to the left, one vocal all the way to the left, one vocal 70% to the right, one vocal all the way to the right. And I do that with every single vocal on the song. So there's a main of whatever octave, and then if I do a high octave behind it, I do the same thing. And so you just stack them, stack them, stack them, stack them, stack them, and then you play around with the reverbs, and then it just gives you like a more full sound. And then from there, just fucking turn knobs on that EQ until it sounds cool to you, because if it sounds cool to you, it probably sounds cool to someone else.
Yeah.
So
what resources would you point people to Or like what resources did you use when you were learning how to mix?
YouTube, 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 YouTube. So depending on your what I did personally, depending on your DAW, just YouTube how to get a starting preset for that DAW. So I was using BandLab. I went on YouTube and I was like, my voice is a bass. So I was like, bass vocals preset for BandLab. And I literally looked and someone did one on their own and I just copied it and I saved it and then I tweaked it from there to match what I wanted.
Right.
But I was like starting preset, right? And then everything, I still all the time, I'll like be mixing a song and I'm like, how do I get my voice to sound this way in distortion? And I'll just YouTube it. And like YouTube has, it's so accessible.
Yeah.
Someone will teach you anything on YouTube. So do not be afraid to, in the middle of mixing your song, pause, go to YouTube, watch a video on how to mix your song, and then apply techniques because I do that all the time. And it usually ends up working.
Do you use the same preset for like every song?
I use the same bass preset and then I tweak the preset from there
Okay.
to match what I want. Which the cool thing about like BandLab too is if you're really starting out and you don't know what you're doing, they have pre-made presets in there, and a lot of them are partnered with artists that are big. Like there's an Uzi preset on there. There's a Post Malone preset on there. There's like a hip hop preset. There's a rock preset, whatever. And I was doing that at first until I really wanted to like hone in on my own.
Yeah.
But I use the same, it's called in my computer, it's called SMZ1.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on, I record into it. So I put it on before I even record vocals. And then if I can get everything on the song sounding good in just the bass preset, when I add new effects, when I add blah blah blah, it'll be easier and I know it'll sound good at the end.
Yeah.
Because like I make the full song in the basic preset and then I go in and mix everything after. But every song I make is on that preset.
Interesting. I agree about the, you can endlessly like try to make something perfect and
Yeah.
that process will never end. I mean, I feel that way about um videos a lot of times too, and sometimes you just kind of have to be like, I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's good.
Yeah.
I don't need to make it
Yeah.
perfect. And yeah, just not getting caught up in like perfection because we talk about this a lot, but like my perspective on music, since I don't know really, I mean, I've seen you record. I know a little bit about making music.
Yeah.
I definitely don't not know anything, but uh, I don't know anything. So like when I'm listening to music, I don't notice things that could potentially be wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like, isn't congratulations or something by
The
Post?
one of the 808s is out of key.
Yeah, I would never
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. And like that's the thing is you don't notice. Like I didn't notice that at first, and then someone brought it up to me,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Most people that are gonna listen to your music are not gonna notice
Yeah.
all the stuff that you notice.
No.
Same way with videos. Like sometimes I'll like sometimes if I'm ever watching stuff I've shot with other people, I'll like kind of notice something that could be better. And
Yeah.
I'll like look at them,
Yeah.
but they don't even have any reaction to it because they don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
I do that. That's ruined listening to music for me sometimes because like Haley will show me a song, and I'm like, this could be such a great song, but I hate the way it's mixed. And she's like, you got to get over it. I'm like, I can't.
that's what I'm saying. That's why
But like the normal person's not like that.
right, and that's kind of why I don't want to ever like learn how to make
That's why I don't want to learn how to make videos, bro, because I just love watching a music video.
yeah, so you just gotta understand that most people aren't gonna like. People are gonna be mean and critique you,
Yeah.
but like people. Aren't gonna.
But that's also a good point of have people you can send it to before it comes out, and have a multitude of different types of people, right? So I send it to like I'll send stuff to like Jay or Scuff who know more about that kind of stuff so that they can give me like critical critiques, and then I'll send it to like you and Haley so that y'all as like I don't want to say a basic listener
Right? Yeah, yeah.
can just tell me like, hey, it sounds good, and you'll tell me like, hey, I think it would sound cooler if you brought out the bass more, and like that is shit that I need to know because Me, I'm like, oh, this mix is perfect though.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but it just doesn't sound cool. And I'm like, okay, cool. So have a multitude of different types of people that can listen to your mix before you drop it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Next up, we got a question from Suffer Plenty,
Suffer.
friend of the show. Um, he was it's kind of an open-ended question, but he was asking about maintaining relationships with other artists and not jeopardizing your own reputation. And he said, interpret that as you will. Which I kind of take to mean, I guess, just what's the best way to navigate having relationships with other artists,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, but still prioritizing yourself is kind of how I took it. And I would say that you ultimately just kind of need to prioritize yourself. And I hate, because I'm very like anti everything's a business and blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, if you are pursuing being an artist and like you want to be in a position where you can live off of it or supplement your income with it or whatever, like you have to take care of your so much of being an artist is your brand,
Yeah.
and you have to take care of that. So I think in general, you should try to, whoever you do have relationships with as an artist, you should try to maintain those unless they give you a reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
Just by showing love, like, and being, you know, kind to people, and like sharing advice if you're asked for it, or
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like being active in whatever community you're in. And what is the saying? Is it passing down the ladder? Is that what people say? Have you never heard that before?
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
it's like if you're above.
I've heard like you are who your friends are.
Okay, that's kind of different, but I just mean like, like it's like passing down the ladder. So if you're above someone,
Yeah.
it's like you don't want to take the ladder. Like,
Oh,
you
to
want to
like
pass
let
it. Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. You
Yeah.
just want to take. I guess just take care of your friends
Yeah.
to the best of your ability. But you kind of have to be your own priority at the end of the day. So if an opportunity comes along that you could take, and someone might get jealous or feel some type of way, I mean, that's just where, I don't know, this is kind of people advice, but I mean, you can talk to them about it.
Yeah.
But people, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of interpreting this question a lot of different ways, but um, I don't know. How would you take this question?
So I mean, my first thought was like, if someone does some like fucked up like cancelable shit, cut the bitch off.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't maintain a relationship with someone who is a bad person. First of all, and
yeah,
I think that applies to every thing in life. I've cut off a lot of people because they've done some bad shit. Um, but if we're interpreting it, I like the way that you did interpret it of like prioritizing yourself and also maintaining a relationship. Um, First of all, I want to say like I think that it does come down to like you are a brand, right? So, and I don't think that there's anything really too businessy about that too, because I also am like anti. I don't want this shit to be a business. I want this to be, the
yeah,
thing that I love. But at the end of the day, if you are an artist and you are trying, and it's more than just a hobby, and you are trying to make this your career, you are a business. Spaceman Zack is a business, right? And there is a brand, there is a, a vibe, there is like everything. I got lucky because I think that there are artists out there whose brand is something that they are not necessarily in their everyday life. And so
yeah,
they have to, and I'm not hating because it's all entertainment at the end of the day, but like they are putting on more of a show.
hmm,
Whereas my brand of Spaceman Zack is literally just this is who I am off the camera. This is who I am on the camera. This is me every day. Um, so it makes it easy for me because anyone I align myself with and have a relationship with as an artist is someone that I just like what they're doing anyway, and it already aligns with my brand,
yeah,
right? Because like if you see me working with someone like Elijah, RIP,
yeah,
um, we we were like when we first met, it was because I liked his music and he liked my music and our brands aligned.
yeah,
So we ended up becoming best friends and will forever be, I love him. Um, but at the end of the day, there wasn't ever like a like I could prioritize myself because even when I was doing stuff with him, it was good for me anyway
Right.
because the brands aligned, right? So I think that prioritizing yourself is is the most important thing because it's like everyday life of you have to put yourself first, and that doesn't mean you're being selfish. That doesn't mean you're being a bad friend. That doesn't mean you're being a bad partner. That doesn't mean you're being anything like that. You have to put your own self first. But I would say maintaining relationship. Don't force a relationship with like an artist that doesn't align with what you're about or what
Yeah.
your brand is because you have a brand at the end of the day.
Yeah, I
I just went
agree.
off on like a weird tangent.
No.
It took me like 8 years to get to the point, so I'm sorry, but
No.
yeah.
I think that's good, and I think too, I mean, I think it's just like having relationships with anybody in
Hmm.
any context is yeah, you just got to kind of try to be around people that you align with for the most part, and if there's things that you don't align with, that's y'all just have to be respectful
Hmm.
of each other, and in the same way too, like you addressing like the more business side of it is like I think you should really go out of your way not to screw anyone over or
Yeah.
like
Just
do
be a cool
something.
person.
Yeah, just be a cool person and or like yeah, you shouldn't you should go out of your way to try not to like do anything that'll negatively impact someone else. But I think there are situations where it's like things can be misconstrued or like maybe you're really tight with someone and you get offered an opportunity that wasn't extended to them.
Yeah.
As long as you're not screwing them over,
Yeah.
y'all should already have a type of relationship to where like they can be upset about them not getting that extended to them, but like they can't be upset at you.
Yeah.
If they are, I just think you need to kind of reevaluate that. I have like a point I'm trying to make.
That's what I was going like which ways. Yeah.
I can't get there, but you just have to prioritize yourself sometimes. Don't be a dick to people, and also understand if you're on the side of not getting an opportunity extended to you or something. Understand that. Uh, what am I trying to say? Sorry, guys. Understand the same thing that you would want. Is
Yeah.
like they have to take care of themselves
Hmm.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day. They kind of have to prioritize themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
I mean, I can think of sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt you.
you're good.
I can think of artists that I am friends with who I can think of one specifically, I'm not going to name drop, but he is on a tour right now that I really want to be on. And I am not at all mad because I'm so happy for him. Because if I was the one who got offered that tour, I would hope that he would be happy for me
Yeah,
because he just got to do his own thing, right? And like when it happened, I was like, damn, he should have thrown my name in the ring. But like, he's got to do his own thing. He's got to take care of himself
yeah,
because at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself first. So what if I get? I've also had situations with friends where like I got offered like a big feature or I got offered a show that they didn't get offered, and I've had both scenarios where they turned around and they were like, you're a piece of shit for not bringing me. And I've also had people that were like, hey, you got to go make sure you're set first, so go do your thing.
yeah,
And so like you just it's both sides of the coin, like you have to be happy for other people and you also have to like do what's best for you.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
and I would say this about everything in life. It's really just really easy to just not be a shit person. So just don't do people dirty.
yeah. And I think a lot of the last thing I'll say is I think a lot of scenarios where like any situations like this would come up
Yeah.
are like business type scenarios.
Yeah.
And I think just always keep in mind that most artists, especially independent artists, like don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not business people. So I think things can get misconstrued sometimes as like, oh, you could have stuck your neck out more for me, or like, oh, you could have like
Hmm.
whatever. But I think at the end of the day, it's like everyone's kind of a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's like,
plus nobody at the end of the day, bro, nobody does owe you anything.
Right.
Like, even if that's your homie, bro, he doesn't owe you a spot on the lineup. He doesn't owe you a
Yeah.
blah blah blah, you know? Um, that shit happens out of like, because I've had moments where I was offered something and I was just so excited that I was offered something that like the thought didn't cross my mind. I was like in the moment
That's what I'm saying. It's
of
like
like,
everyone's a fish out of water. Like it's not. It's I don't know, but
eh,
well, yeah, we're just kind of
we're just fucking rambling, we're yapping.
saying the same thing over and over. All right, this one's already a little bit longer than normal, but we can talk about the last thing really briefly, which is someone asked about how to get exposure as a producer. Producers, I feel like really get a short end of the stick in terms of like
Yeah, they get a free ride.
existing in the underground because I think they're a lot more like easy to take advantage of than most of the other people that you work with.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm the best, or even you. I don't know if we're the best people to give advice about that. All I can really say is producing seems to be just like a big networking thing. It's like it seems like you have to make hella beats and send hella beats to hella people. I mean, I would still go to shows, try to connect with people like locally.
Yeah.
Um, I think maybe one interesting aspect of producing that's a little bit different than other stuff is like r- random little producers with no like clout or following can get huge placements sometimes just by sending an email.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a plus is like just
Mhm.
send emails to anybody you can
Definitely send
contact.
out packs, bro.
Yeah.
Send out just like spam packs. But also, in my personal experience as like the artist, and people have sent me packs because I think every artist is different. But for me, just like a little, I kind of just thought of this, but like I'm trying to think of the relationships that I have with certain producers and how we got those relationships, and it makes it easier on an artist if you DM them, right? And I think you should do this anytime you're trying to work with someone, but make it genuine, first of all, right? Don't just be like, beats, here you go,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm much more willing to work with someone who I feel like I've had a genuine conversation with instead of just being like it's all business. So, but I'm thinking of like people who have sent me beats, and instead of just sending me a link to a Dropbox with 500 beats in it that I have to go through and it's going to be a fucking process for me when I have 300 more waiting right here from other producers, pick your favorite one, screen record it for 30 seconds and send that in the DM,
Yeah.
because then instead of having to click on the link and go through and find one, whatever, be like, hey, this kind of fits your vibe. Let me know if you like it. And then I can just click on it and listen to it for 30 seconds. Because I can tell you right now, when I listen to beats that people send me, I'll go through packs. I listen to about 20 seconds of the beat. And if I like it, I'll give it more chance. If I can tell if I don't like it in
Yeah.
20 seconds though, right? So I feel like it's like the same thing that people say about artists promoting their music is like, don't make it too hard for the listener to access the music. Pick your favorite one, send me a 30-second snippet in a video so that I can just click on it in the DM.
Yeah. I
You
think
know?
too, if you're a producer and you want to promote yourself, I see a lot of them just send packs to everybody and they're like the same pack.
Yeah.
I think that if you have like no reputation or anything yet, like you don't really have a client base, I think you're kind of messing up there because unfortunately, it's just how things work. Like if you're asking someone to take a look at something, like you just said, you want to make it as easy as
Yeah.
possible. And I think you have a better chance of getting a response or like building a relationship, even if you're, like you said, picking a beat, screen recording it,
Mhm.
that seems like it would fit the artist,
Yeah.
or even just sending a pack that's like related to what the artist makes. Because I'll look at beats in your email sometimes just to send you stuff that like, oh, I'm like, oh, you'd sound cool in this. But you get a lot of packs that are like, not in a mean way, but it's like if you've ever listened to your music, like why would you ever think you
Yeah.
would go on this beat?
Yeah, dude. I've had I and that's a big thing too is
And then, sorry to
no,
cut you
you're
off.
good.
I just want to make this point. I feel like this is kind of unfortunate too, but that then makes you like not want to give this person a chance because you come off a little bit like you don't care when it's it's a little more work, but it's very easy just to be like, "Hey, I'm paying attention. I think I could provide you value," other than just like, whoosh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And to piggyback off that, there's a couple that hit my email, and I can tell as the artist when this is just you have an auto spam email on and you just upload a bunch of beats and then you send it out to 600 people at once.
Yeah.
Because first of all, in the email, it'll be like, "What's up? My name is Big Jerk Boy, and this is the beats that I did this summer. I think you'll like them. I fuck with your music," and then none of it sounds at all like anything I've released ever.
Yeah.
And so I know you just copy and paste that. I can think of like a couple specific times where like I've like opened it up because I'm just looking for beats, and I open it up and they're like, "I fuck with your music so much. I think you could get on these." And then I'll open it and it sounds like a fucking Kevin Gates beat. And I'm like, when have I ever sounded like any, no hate, the beat's probably cool. It's not anything that I want to get on,
Yeah.
right? And then I will see that person in my inbox again, and I'll just not even open the email because I know that you did not send me anything. So like, I know because I do know a lot of producers that I'm like friends with and whatever, and they have different folder. Make some different folders in your computer of like this style beat, this style beat, this style beat, and then just give the artist that you're sending to. It's gonna take a little bit longer. Give them a listen, pick out ones that you think will actually fit their vibe, right? Like, don't send me, you know, like a fucking honky tonk beat. Like,
Yeah.
send me some shit that like aligns with my brand,
Yeah.
and I'll probably give you more of it. Cause then, yeah, bro, I will like see it and I'll be like, "Oh, Big Jerk Boy sent me another." I'm trash. Like, I don't want that,
Yeah.
cause you clearly don't care enough about the music. You're just looking for a placement,
Yeah.
and I will never get on that beat, probably. You know?
Yeah. And last thing I'll say is I think again, I mentioned like going to shows and stuff, but if you can connect with someone like locally, or it doesn't have to be local, I guess, but I would just look around for people that you can build with.
Hmm.
Um I think that like that's kind of what I did with videos, and I think that I think there's a lot of luck in that, like finding someone that you
Yeah.
vibe with. I'm very lucky that like we linked up and
Hmm.
like clicked.
Agreed.
But you can find people and like you might just have to try to build with them, or like find someone who's I think a lot of people want to work with bigger people really fast.
Yeah.
And it's like I think there's so much more value if you can find someone to come up with,
Yeah.
because you're able to like, I don't know, share more ideas and
I think the music comes out better that way too. Cause you have a
yeah.
relationship and you work on it like together and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's hard, and I think, again, it's like I mean, it's like dating, I guess, but, like, you're probably gonna meet a bunch of people that you don't end up clicking with,
Yeah.
but it's just, I think you just gotta try to, like, link and build with people, bro.
Yeah. No, no, real shit. See the vision.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing is I don't think if you're like kind of starting out as a producer, I have seen both sides of people saying that they agree and don't agree. I don't think that there's a problem with you putting out some type beats and posting them on YouTube and then making like a beat stars and a track train and linking it, because I'll tell you right now, half of the producers I work with to this day, I found early in my career searching type beats on YouTube. And then I found them and I was like, "Oh, this beat's sick." And then I went to their beat stars and I was like, "Oh, they have 17 sick beats on here." And then I DM'd them because I was like, "Hey, really like this beat. I'm going to use it just so you know." And then from there we grew a relationship. That's how like me and like Lovelock linked. I believe that's how me and CMAC
Mhm.
linked. Um and from there we just created a relationship, and then now they send me packs and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, the new fucking CMAC pack just came in." Blah blah blah. But like, maybe don't make that your end goal is making a bunch of type beats on YouTube, but like to get,
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere.
you got to start somewhere. And like there's a, and like that comes in with not always looking for huge placements and growing with artists, because you're gonna find a lot of people who make great music who don't have a lot of uh like play right now, and they're gonna use your beats, but then you can grow with them, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think main focus should just be building relationships with artists
yeah,
from a producer perspective. But yeah,
fuck yeah, dude.
hell yeah. Well, I think that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like the video, subscribe.
Tell us other topics to talk about.
Oh yeah, if you guys, again, as always, if you have any other things you want us to talk about or whatever, I think we're pretty happy to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks guys.
If we get 1,000 likes on this video, I'll smash a pie in Aubrey's face.
Yeah, I'm actually down. Like, because I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. But maybe in like a year, if this blows
Fuck
up,
it.
we'll get reminded. But yeah, thanks guys. You're the best.
All right.
See y'all soon.
Love you.